Hey everyone, and welcome back to Day 2 of Basic Mojo Programming for Artificial Intelligence tutorial. In this tutorial, I will cover an introduction to Mojo Programming, how to get started with Mojo, the functions, variables, and data types in Mojo Programming. Mojo is a systems programming language designed for performance and efficiency. It is a statically typed programming language, which means that the compiler can check for many errors at compile time rather than waiting for the program to run. It also has a number of features that make it well suited for writing high-performance code, such as zero-cost abstractions and low-level memory management. Mojo is an easy-to-use as Python, but with the performance of C++ and Rust. Mojo allows you to leverage the entire Python ecosystem, so you can continue to use the tools you are familiar with. It is designed to become a superset of Python over time by preserving Python's dynamic features while adding new primitives for systems programming. So to start Mojo programming, you need to install the Mojo SDK on your computer. You can watch the previous video tutorials how to install and configure Mojo on VS Code and computer. So now let's get started. Create a new file, for example, day2.mojo. Mojo is an extension for Mojo program. So now I have just created my first Mojo file, which is day2.mojo. Now let me show you a simple Python code, how to run using Mojo compiler. Hello world. This is a simple Python. If you are familiar with Python, this is a Python code, and it can be compiled by the Mojo compiler. And to run this code, you can use Mojo space day2.mojo. Then you can run and see the output. Yeah, that is hello world. This is your first Mojo program, but the code is written in Python because Mojo supports all features of Python, added with the performance of C++ and Rust. But Mojo has fn keywords to define function instead of using def keyword. So let me comment this, and let me show you how you can define the Mojo function using fn keyword. Fn main, and you can print out hello world with Mojo. Okay, then you can run the code and you can see the output hello world with Mojo. So this is a keyword in Mojo to define a function. This is a def keyword to define a Python function. Okay, but both actually work in Mojo, but using fn behaves a bit differently. Basically, Mojo supports all of Python syntax and semantics. If you are not familiar with Python syntax, you can find Python basic tutorial playlist in my channel and learn from it. Like Python, Mojo uses line breaks and indentations. For example, here, it is a block of code that breaks the lines, and every block of code should be indented in Mojo while using fn. That is the same with using def keyword in Python. So if you, for example, unindented this code, it just generate an error because this is a great features of Python that includes in Mojo. And Mojo supports all of the Python's control flow syntaxes, such as if conditional statements and loops. However, Mojo is still under development, so there are some things from Python that aren't implemented in Mojo yet. All the missing Python features will arrive in time, I hope, but Mojo already includes many features and compatibilities beyond what's available in Python. So Mojo functions can be declared with either using the def keyword or fn keyword, but the fn declaration enforces a strongly typed and memory safe behaviors. while dev provides Python style dynamic behaviors. So if you are using the Python style using dev, it is a dynamic style behaviors, but this if you are using FN, it is a static type behaviors and memory save management behaviors. So I will show you the difference between the two practically. Both FN and dev functions have their value, and it's important that you learn them both. However, for the purpose of this tutorial, I will focus on FN functions only. And the other thing is you can declare variables with either using let or var keyword in Mojo. For example, let me declare a variable x and assign, for example, 10 and going to print out the value of that x. So that is 10. So this is the way how you can define variable x using let keyword in Mojo while using fn function. If you are using dev keyword, you don't need to use any keywords to define or declare variables. That is called dynamic style behavior because the variables are dynamically reserved in memory. But here it is static type behavior. Okay, so you can also declare variables if you wanna just modify the variables value. You can use var keyword, var y, for example, and if you wanna just modify the values of y, for example, let's increment this by 1, so you can use var, and then you print the sum of the two variables. Yeah, it is 13. So both used to define or declare variables in Mojo, but they have some differences. If you are using let, which means you can't change that variable values anytime because that is immutable. If you change, for example, the var to let, you cannot modify that value. For example, let me show you let, and let me print out this. Yeah, it is error. The error is that expression must be mutable for in-place operation destination. Because if you are defining a variable with let, that variable is not mutable. That is immutable. If you want to just change the values of that variable, you can define that variable with var. So now it is modified. So no errors on this type. Yeah. So that's the basic differences between let and var keywords in variable declarations in Mojo. So var variables are mutable, meaning that their value can be changed. Once, for example, if you remove this changed value, and if you run that code again, this is error because the variable y is mutable. It can be changed the values of that variable if it is declared using var. That is the basic difference between let and var. So it depends. If you wanna just change the values of that variable anytime, you can use var. But if you don't need to change the values of that variable, you can use let. That is the only difference between let and var. Anyhow, you can define or declare variables using let or var in Mojo when using fn function. For example, if you don't, you are using def keyword, A 3, 2, and B is 3. You can print A plus B, and you can see the output. That is 5. But when you are using def keyword, you don't need to statically declare variables. That's why we call Python is a dynamic typed programming language, but Mojo is a static typed programming language when you are using fn keyword to define a function. Okay, that is the basic difference between the fn in Mojo programming. So keep in mind. Okay, the other thing is in Mojo you can statically specify the types of the variable. For example, here it is no need to define the type of the variable, but you can statically define the type of the variable. For example, integer. So the values of this variable must be integer. For example, if I put 10.3, this is floating, so it just highlight an error. Okay, because the type of this variable is integer, the values should be integer. That is, if you specify the type of that variable, otherwise it accepts any value, doesn't matter. If you don't specify the type of that variable, it accepts any values. That is the future of Python. But sometimes it is recommended to specify the type of the variable that the user imports it to input the same types of that variable. So Mojo has a variety of built-in data types, including integers, floatings, strings, and booleans. So this is an explicit variable type declaration. If you specify the type of that variable like this, declaring the type is not required for variable declaration in fn keywords, but it is desirable sometimes because sometimes it is recommended that enforce the users to input the same types of value. If you omit it, Mojo imports the type as shown here. So this is the basic Mojo programming. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Write comments below. See you in the next video tutorial. Thanks for watching.